What's up everyone? Today I'm down at Jaguar, Land Rover, Porsche, Volvo of Greenville, and behind me is a 2019 Porsche Cayenne. Huge thanks to them for providing this vehicle for me today. I'll have a link to their website down in the description below. The model that we're looking at is the S. It's finished off in Carrera white metallic with an MSRP just over $102,000. Under the hood is a 2.9 liter twin turbo V6. This is only paired to a new 8-speed Tiptronic S automatic transmission with steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. This engine produces 440 horsepower at 5,700 RPM and 405 pound-feet of torque as low as 1,800 RPM. It is all-wheel drive, weighs around 4,400 pounds. 0 to 60 can happen in 4.9 seconds. It has a top speed of 164 miles an hour, and with a fuel capacity of 23.7 gallons, you can expect the MPG to be 17 in the city and 24 on the highway. The wheelbase measures 114 inches. It has an overall length of 193.7. The width is 78.1, and it has a height of 66.8 inches. Starting up front, this comes with LED matrix beam headlights that have a nice intricate pattern design to them. This has daytime running lights. The turn signals are integrated into the enlarged air intakes on either side. This also features 4 parking sensors up front. The new edges around the air intakes and the center grille provide a more aggressive appearance over the previous generation, and there are very clean lines coming down the hood. Moving to the side, this features 22-inch alloy wheels wrapped in Pirelli P0 summer tires. They also have a nice double 10-spoke design to them. This features these surface-coated 4-wheel disc brakes with the rotors up front measuring 16.3 inches with 10-piston calipers and 14.4 inches in the rear with 4-piston calipers. The standard brakes offer 4 and 2-piston calipers respectively. The body-colored side mirrors are heated, power folding, and feature the integrated turn signal. There's very clean lines running down the side of the vehicle. This also has chrome trim running around the windows, and the wheel arches give it more of an aggressive look as well. And finishing up in the rear with the integrated spoiler and third brake light, the wiper blade is in the lower section of the window to help improve visibility. This comes standard with LED taillights, a backup camera with 4 parking sensors. It features a quad tip dual exhaust and has a towing capacity up to 7,700 pounds. Alright, so that finishes up the exterior walk-around of the 2019 Porsche Cayenne S. What do you guys think of this car? I absolutely love how it looks in person, especially with the upgraded 22-inch wheels. I think they have a really nice design to them over the standard 19-inch wheels that you can get. The front end just has a nice classic Porsche design to it. So now with the key, we'll go ahead and take a more in-depth view of the interior, and on the key fob itself, you have unlock, lock, and the power tailgate button. But with the key on me, I'll just walk up to the vehicle, place my hand on the door handle, and you will hear it automatically unlock. The door panel is finished off in a very nice truffle brown leather. There's wood inlays running above that with more aluminum. You have the aluminum release handle with all of your seat memory controls. All of the side windows are automatic up and down. You have the tailgate open and close, along with the heated power folding adjustments for the side mirrors. This also has the upgraded 14-speaker Bose audio sound system with a lot of storage space behind that. Moving inside now, the truffle brown interior continues to the leather seats. It's also on the seat belts itself. These seats are heated. These seats have nice bolstering support to them, and you can adjust the front part of the seat, moving it forwards and backwards to your comfort. They also feature an 18-way power adjustability along with 4-way power lumbar support as well. Once inside, we're greeted with a fully wrapped truffle brown leather steering wheel. It has really good hand positioning on both sides, along with more aluminum trim pieces running around the bottom of it. All of these buttons on the right side control your Bluetooth, along with the 7-inch digital screen and the gauge cluster, which I'll get to. This top button here is customizable, so you can set that to whatever setting you would like. Moving to the left, we have radio volume, along with being able to control the other digital screen in the center gauge setup. This also features the steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. They are actually quite large and have a nice feel to them, finished off in aluminum. I really like the design of them. So with the electronics on now, I'll be using those buttons on the right side of the steering wheel to scroll through a couple different options. We can look at your tire pressure front and rear. You have more vehicle information with oil temperature and things like that. along with your drive time, your distance, your average fuel consumption and speed. You can also pull up the navigation screen full screen. We have a G-force meter. To the far right is your clock. You also have the fuel gauge and oil temperature on this screen here. The tach is right in the middle with your speedometer down below along with your gear selection. And then moving over to the far left, you have your outside temperature. And then this analog speedometer also has a lot of features in it. We can look at your miles and your trip distance, along with being able to set speed limits. You have the different driving modes along with your route guidance for the navigation screen. To the left of the steering wheel is all the automatic headlight and high beam controls. This is the ignition key. You have more aluminum around one air vent and more of that brown running across the entire dash. There's a clock up front with 2 air vents. And now we'll take a look at the 12.3-inch touchscreen navigation screen. So using the center screen, there are a lot of different things that we can configure. You see I'm on navigation right now. We can go into media, you have your phone, you have your drive modes, normal, sport, and individual. We can also go over to chassis and go between normal, sport, and sport plus as well. And then going back, you can activate the engine start stop feature, which is nice to have. We can go over to the off-road settings, so on-road, gravel, mud, sand, and rocks. You also have some controls for the ambient lighting, so you can control the brightness of that along with what color you would like. And you can also choose where you want that color. So you have the doors, the cup holders, and the footwells. You also have them up on the roof too. We can also go to the trip, see your time, date, the outside temperature range, and scroll down to your average fuel consumption speed. Moving down to the climate controls now, of course you can control where you want the airflow for the driver and passenger, as this does have dual zone climate control. You can also synchronize them and turn everything completely off. There is also a ventilation panel, which is up front, that you can turn on and off just by clicking on the top section there. And you can control the flow of the air, so it's set on medium right now. We have strong and soft. And then going down to the bottom left there, you have some apps. So there's news, gas stations, restaurants, and parking. And we can also scroll to an assistance. So you have the Porsche Active system along with lane keeping assist and the surrounding assistance. You have all the sound controls, and you have your tone, bass, and treble, and all of that along with the volume. And then going into set, there's a lot of different settings that you can configure. So you have your driver, vehicle setting, display, Porsche Connect with your navigation. And beneath that screen, there's 2 more air vents. There's also a lot of controls in the center. You can see that they are all hidden right now with the vehicle off. So it gives it a very nice look. All of this piano black finish is very clean looking, and there's only a few actual physical buttons. These 2, the volume in the middle, and then the power for the radios. So with everything on now, you can see all of the buttons that have appeared. We'll start on the left here. You have car, which is basically everything that I've showed you, just shortcuts so far. There's climate controls, you have home, media, and source. To the right, you have the apps, off-road, phone, navigation, set, and assistance. So again, just pushing on off-road, it'll bring up that screen that you saw. We can go to apps. On the left, we are back to the temperature and fan speed for the driver. You have those same controls for the passenger. Beneath that, you have the heated and ventilated driver seat controls. You have the passengers on the far right, along with the front and rear defrosters and more AC controls. And then down below, you have the sport mode buttons, along with 2 different suspension modes, and then being able to turn on and off traction control. There's an electronic parking brake behind that with Cayenne written out. And then on the shifter here, it's actually very nice and easy to use. And then you just pull on the trigger up front. You can go all the way back into drive or all the way forward for reverse. And you'll see the backup camera light up. The lines do move with the turn of the steering wheel, which is nice to see. And then we can also bring this all the way down into drive again, put it over into manual mode, so we can shift using this. And then putting it into park, we just push on the back. It'll automatically move over if you are in the manual mode. Behind that, there's a little bit of storage space. You have 2 cup holders with a 12 volt and more of that aluminum surrounding it. Moving to the center armrest, there's a lot of room down in here with 2 USB ports. I really like all of the leather, it feels really nice. Moving over to the glove box, there's definitely a lot more room. This also has the aluminum and wood trim inlay running above that, gives it a really nice look. We'll take another look at the brown leather seats. Again, it has a really nice interior look to it. This also features a full panoramic sunroof. And of course, all those features are up front with your sunshade, being able to tilt it. You have some emergency buttons along with all the dome light switches as well. So now it's time to take a look at the rear seating, and what's nice about this vehicle is you can actually lock and unlock all 4 doors from any of the doors. So you'll hear it unlock, and then I can also lock it as well from the back seat. So that's really nice to be able to do. Of course, the door panel is finished off like up front, has that wood trim and aluminum, gives it a really, really nice look. I love this brown color. And this is a 5-seater SUV, so let's go ahead and hop in. Behind both front seats, there's a nice storage pocket for anything that you need. There's 2 air vents in the center with a little storage shelf. You have a 12-volt and 2 USBs down to the right side. As far as legroom goes, at 5'10", I definitely have plenty of legroom. My feet are up underneath the seat comfortably, and I have about 4 or 5 inches above my head. These seats also recline too, so I can move them forward and backwards. We'll look at the center armrest now. If you pull this down, you have 2 cup holders, and then of course the armrest itself. And now we'll take a look out of the rear glass. There's a little glass right there, and then of course the side window. And I do like the fact that you have the full panoramic roof. It really gives it a lot more light in the back seats here. So these seats also offer a 40-20-40 split, so that makes them more configurable for anything that you need. This is the control that I was using to be able to recline the seats, and then they are manual adjusting forward and rear. So just by pulling on this bar here, we can move them forward if you need a little bit more cargo room behind the seats. And then just by pulling on this, these seats will fold flat. So again, you have the option to do that. And you can see the room to the back seats, so it's definitely very versatile. So now it's time to take a look at the trunk storage space, and I can either use the key fob, the buttons inside of course, or just push on the electronic button up underneath. And with this open, you have about 27 cubic feet of storage space with the back seats up, and it goes to about 60 cubic feet of storage space with them down. So there's definitely plenty of room. You have some netting to the far left, along with a speaker and a dome light, another dome light and speaker, and a little bit of a storage pocket to the far right. Up underneath, you have the spare tire and a little bit of storage space if you need to throw anything over there that you need. You also have the removable cover that you can lock into place. So it's definitely very configurable. And with the power tailgate, we can just push it up on the top there to close it up. All right, so now it's time to get the Cayenne S out on the road now. The first thing that I'll go over is the general visibility. It's obviously easy to see forwards, but it's nice that there's a little bit of a window on the back side of the A-pillar, so you can see in front of your side mirrors, which would be extremely helpful on the passenger side there. And then of course, looking over your left and right shoulder, there's not too much of a blind spot in either direction. You can clearly see out of that rear glass using your rear view mirror, and obviously using your side mirrors will help you out as well. They're in a nice spot, so I can easily see both corners with those. Moving on to the comfort now, just putting a couple miles on this so far. I really like the position of these seats in relation to the steering wheel here. You can adjust this 18 different ways, so you can definitely dial these seats in to exactly the comfortable position you are looking for. Coming up to a turn real quick, you can feel a little bit of body roll. I mean, 4,400 pounds, it's not going to be extremely planted, but it took that turn very well, and it's going to have plenty of power to get out, which we'll test here soon. And overall, again, the seating position is really nice. I could easily see this being a daily driver, with being able to configure the seat how you'd like. Moving on to all of the interior materials now. I love this brown interior. It's on the dash, it's on the A-pillars here. The fabric on the top is the same color. It's on all the grab handles. It's pretty much everywhere. It consumes the entire interior, but at the same time, it's not overdone. It's not a crazy color. It's nice and elegant. And then with everything off too, all of the buttons are hidden. So I like the fact that while there are a lot of options in the center, it's really not overdone. Everything is laid out well. There are a couple physical buttons that are nice to have, like the volume and the radio control. It's always nice to have a physical button, I think, like that, rather than going into the infotainment screen. Moving on to the power and handling of this SUV now. I'm gonna go ahead and put it over into the manual mode, use the paddle shifters here. I have it in sport mode, so we'll just give it a little bit of gas. It definitely gets up and moves, that's for sure. It's not slow at all for its 4,400 pound curb weight. Those shifts are very quick and very smooth too. You can't even feel anything in those shifts. There's no lurching or anything like that. Again, I do have it in sport mode, so let's take it out of sport mode and just driving normal now. We'll see if there's a difference. Ooh, you can hear those turbos kick in. or feel those turbos kick in, I should say. I'm also going to put it into the second suspension setting, and we're going to take this turn that we previously took. Wow, there's hardly any body roll and plenty of power to get out of that turn. That's very impressive to see. I'm very impressed with how quiet it is on the inside. It is very insulated. I can hardly hear any of the tire noise. There's no wind noise, anything like that. You can hear the engine and the exhaust just a little bit, but other than that, it's a nice, comfortable, quiet ride. And feel hardly any of these bumps here with the suspension. In the normal setting here, it's absorbing bumps very well. So that is my walk around review and test drive of the 2019 Porsche Cayenne S. Huge thanks again to Jaguar, Land Rover, or Porsche Volvo of Greenville for providing this for me today. It definitely has a ton of technology features. It drives great. I love the brown leather interior against the white exterior. It just gives it a fantastic look. Plenty of storage space, and again, it's really fun to drive. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Smash that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next video.